All right. So, are we going to celebrate Christmas? Are we going to celebrate anything, as a matter of fact? What about birthdays and all the other holidays that Jehovah's Witnesses were not simply allowed to celebrate? But what about now? What's going to happen if you do? Let's say you are not disfellowshipped, you just faded, and you're considering celebrating Christmas. Is that good, bad, or ugly about this subject? Let's discuss this. Okay, so see, for most people around the world, celebrating holidays is not that big of a deal. They celebrate, they don't celebrate, they say celebrate a little bit or not at all. But for Jehovah's Witnesses, it is really a really big deal. If you are a Jehovah's Witness, you know exactly how important that is. Not only that you're not celebrating this, but even things like accepting a Christmas card. Would that be allowed or not? How about accepting a Christmas bonus? How about going to a Christmas party? What if at the end of the year they don't call it a Christmas party, they call it a year-end party, and there's a Christmas tree over there. Right? There's a lot of those tiny little things that Jehovah's Witnesses truly struggle. And I know many of them, they're like, can I do this? Can I not do this? I remember my own wife when she was working for this company, and they asked her to hang the Christmas cards on a wall. And she refused to do it. Although there is no ceremony, none of those cards are for her. But her conscience did not allow her to do this. I think it would allow me to do it, but she said, no, I'm not going to do it. And it created quite a bit of a challenge for the people at work. So it is a lot of those tiny little details which are not specified for Jehovah's Witnesses, and they don't know what to do in many cases. For example, like the party. I know I was working as a waiter, and many times I work as a waiter for all different holidays. So for Christmas gatherings or for New Year's Eve, a lot of witnesses would work during those days because nobody else would show up, or they all wanted to celebrate. So it was great for Jehovah's Witnesses would get paid usually double the amount if they could go for, let's say, a New Year's Eve or a Christmas party. So it was totally acceptable to work on that day. However, obviously, it was not acceptable to celebrate those things. But at the end of the year, usually a company would say, hey, we are throwing a Christmas party. If the company had a lot of witnesses, I've seen when they would say, oh, we're throwing a year-end party, because they knew that if they call it a Christmas party, then none of the Jehovah's Witnesses will show up. So they actually adjusted the name of the party in order to accommodate Jehovah's Witnesses. And I remember when that happened, when I was serving, and then all of a sudden there was an announcement for all the waiters and all the wait staff to say, never tell anybody Merry Christmas. These people do not celebrate Christmas. They are here to celebrate year end. And I'm like, oh, Jehovah's Witnesses are in the crowd. And truthfully enough, I actually met a lot of people who were in my congregation, and they were working for this company, and the company changed the policy to accommodate them. Now, as we know, Jehovah's Witnesses would never accommodate somebody else with their traditions and with their religious rules that they have. They just want other people to accommodate them. But what about now? You left and you are a PMO, physically and mentally out. Can you celebrate? Well, you all know that the celebration of certain holidays would automatically put you in hot water. There is something called disassociation by act. What that means is you don't have to write a letter of disassociation. You don't have to even have a trial. They could actually disfellowship you without you being present at the judicial committee, All what they need is two witnesses of you entering a church and singing a song, entering a church and praying, or celebrating Christmas, for example, dressing up a Christmas tree, putting up a Christmas decoration. That would be sufficient evidence for them to disfellowship a person. And as you know, that just brings a lot of consequences that for Jehovah's Witnesses that could be quite dire. So what's happening if you want to celebrate those things? Let's say you want to celebrate Christmas and you are physically in and mentally out, or you're trying to fade. I've seen people doing this in such a way that allows them to get the joy out of it without stirring up the people in the congregation. So what they do is, let's say they want to dress up a Christmas tree, they do it in their bedroom. They don't put it up so neighbors could see it, or they do it in such a way that nobody else knows except the people that they choose to show it to. They exchange gifts, or they wish happy holidays to the people who are close to them, and that's basically how they do it. How you want to do it, it's up to you. I would say this: choose a path that best suits your circumstances, because you are the one that will live with the consequences of that decision. So if you decide to put up a Christmas tree in front of your house and you are just starting to fade, you know that chances are somebody's going to notice and there will be consequences to it. How long does it take for, let's say, somebody who started fading in order for them to fully live freely without worrying about what people will say in the congregation? That number varies from one congregation to another, but it's like an unspoken number of around 5 years. Around 5 years, if you wait 5 years, the people in the congregation no longer associate you to be a Jehovah's Witness. If they no longer associate you as a being Jehovah's Witness, then you're not causing any stumbling in the congregation, and therefore elders could, that doesn't mean they will, could leave you alone. I'll say, you know what, nobody in the congregation views you as a person who is a witness, therefore it's fine. We're not going to chase after them. But if it's just like 1 year or less than 1 year, chances are they're going to be knocking on your door, because for Jehovah's Witnesses, what's the most important is branding. It's a corporation, right? And they have a policy, and what people think about them is very important. So I remember when I had a tenant who lived in my basement, and the lady was not a witness, and she set up a Christmas tree. And at the end of the Christmas, she threw out the Christmas tree, right? And that Christmas tree was on front of my house. And the neighbor was like, I thought you guys are Jehovah's Witnesses, and I see a Christmas tree in front of your house. Like, how come? And this is why they are guarding so strongly against people who fading. And they're actually very worried about people who are fading, because people who are fading will start celebrating Christmas. They will start celebrating certain holidays, and people still associate, oh, that person is a witness, and this is what they're doing. Like we thought they're not smoking. We see a JW who's smoking. So they really want to guard the standard that they have. And this is why they are very concerned about people who are fading. So if you are trying to fade, remember, there must be sufficient amount of time for the people in the congregation no longer view you as a witness. And if that sometimes 4 or 5 years passes, then usually you're okay. But that doesn't mean you will be okay, because I've seen people who are like, no, how come this person can put up a Christmas tree? I don't care that he has not been going on for the meetings for 10 years. This must be dealt with. You can't just leave it like that. He brings reproach upon Jehovah's name. And you get people like that. But overall, what I've seen from my own experience, I can say that usually around the mark of 5 years, the elders let go, because people in the congregation like, okay, we have not seen this long enough. We don't view him as a witness, and that therefore we can let go of this. Some people say, okay, maybe there will be the next rule thrown out. I don't think so. See, the rules that they're throwing out the window are rules that benefit the organization. They don't benefit the average rank and file publishers. They do in a certain extent, but they don't do it for the average witness. They do it because it benefits the organization. So whatever rule that hinders them and can help the congregation, I mean, can help the organization, they will consider changing. But the ones that put a burden upon an average witness, but getting rid of it will not benefit the organization, they're not going to touch them. There is no way. Things like, I mean, I've been wrong before. I don't know what else will change. Obviously, even the changes that happened recently, I didn't expect them. So hopefully, because the more they change, the less they burden average people. They do it because of maybe financial reasons. Maybe they want to bring the numbers of the publishers higher. They do it for different reasons, but I see that they're really making huge changes because they realize the numbers are declining and there's a huge revolving door. So two people go out, two people come in, and it's basically a circle. So that's pretty much what's happening. But when it comes to Christmas, I would say walk the path you want to walk. You don't have to celebrate Christmas. Nobody can force you to celebrate Christmas. And nobody can force you to celebrate anything, as a matter of fact. You can do it, but at the beginning, it might feel really odd, especially if you're raised as a witness. Then for the first time, you're going to set up a Christmas tree and you know that, oh, that's pagan and this and that. It's your decision. It's your life. And you decide if you want to do it or not. If you don't feel comfortable, what's the point of doing it? I believe that whatever decision that we make should improve the quality of life for ourselves and others. So if something like Christmas would improve the quality of your life, improve the quality of your family life, and your well-being, then why not? What's the harm in doing so? But if you feel that doing so will actually make your life worse, it will actually cause certain consequences that would make your life worse than it was. The quality of life will not be better, it will be worse. Then maybe there is no point. And fighting with it, you got to look what will be the benefit for your life a month from now, a year from now, or in the future. Because very often, I even saw this among ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. If somebody said, I don't want to celebrate Christmas, they're like, oh, you're still a witness, you're still indoctrinated, you still have your brainwashed and so on, and you're still not free. Well, that could be partially true, but at the same time, it is their life and it's their choice what they want to do or not. I know a lot of people who are not witnesses and they never celebrated Christmas because they find the whole idea a little bit odd. Why do we dress up a tree? What's the point? What does it do? And why do we do it at that time? We can dress up a tree at any time. And what's the point of giving people gifts on that specific day? It's kind of an obligation. Why wouldn't we just give people gifts when we want to give them gifts, not on a specific day? And they have those beliefs, and that's fine too. Whatever you choose, it's your life. What if I can share personally? I find this whole idea of whether it's birthdays or Christmas, and the fact that, let's say, like we have kids, giving those gifts, it gives them enormous amount of joy just anticipating. So somebody might have this argument saying, "Oh, I give gifts throughout the year, spontaneously, unannounced, out of my heart." Fine, absolutely nothing wrong with that. But when there is like a specific date, let's say a birthday or Christmas, when kids are expecting it, the anticipation itself, it's a lot of joy. The planning for it's a lot of joy. The knowledge that they're gonna get something, and they're waiting for it, and they're imagining what they're gonna get, and that in itself is quite precious. And when I saw my own kids with it, I'm like, oh man, That's extraordinary. That's something that I didn't have as a kid, and I want my kids to enjoy it and experience this, and they absolutely love it. But it's just us. And if somebody chooses to go a different path, totally fine with that too. I'm curious about you. So if you want, you can join me on this, or you could post in the comments. What do you think about this? How do you invite? Let's see if I can invite you. Yeah, I'm gonna put in the comments a link, and if you want to join me in this discussion, I would love to see somebody joining me. So just look at the comments and copy that link that I posted there, and you can join me on this. I would really like to know your perspective. But I'm curious about how did you guys manage? Let's say you were working for a company and they did year end or a Christmas party. How was it? How was it for you? What did you do? Or did you? I've seen witnesses who would say, "I cannot accept a Christmas gift, but if you just name it differently, then I will accept it." And they will ask the person giving, say, "Can you say that this is a year-end appreciation gift instead of a Christmas gift?" And the person was like, "Okay, this is a year-end appreciation gift." And they're like, "Okay, then I'll take it." It's just to clean their own conscience. It's funny how much power religion has over people, and I know there's certain companies that, for example, what they do is they allow people to get married so they can have sex, and it's all legit. They're all signing the paper. The people can go and have sex, but then they never mail the paper, so the marriage is never registered. They just throw it away, and therefore there is no sin because they're no longer married. But when they had sex, they were legally married, and that's how they clean their conscience. It's crazy how people trying to find loopholes around those weird rules. How about eating a cake or sweets? Somebody brings sweets or somebody's birthday and they put a cake over there and we don't celebrate, but then there was a cake left over in the fridge. Would you touch it? Would you eat it? I'm curious. I know some witnesses would say, no, that's a birthday cake. I would never touch a birthday cake. And some would say, well, it's not celebrating birthday anymore. It's a day after. That's okay. I don't have a problem right now because I didn't grow up as a witness. See, for those people who were not raised as a witness, it's very easy because they just simply go back to where they've been before. But those of us, like me included, who was raised in it, and it was always viewed as something super evil, and the Christmas tree was evil, and the whole gift giving and all the traditions that were associated with it were all always evil and satanic, demonic, and pagan. Then it's not easy to just throw all the indoctrination out the window and say, I'm going to do it, because it's literally in our subconscious mind to view this as something bad, and it's not easy. So that's how it is. I wonder how you guys manage. I'm kidding. Don't want to show my face. Oh, that's too bad. You don't have to show your face. You can just talk and we will turn off the camera. And that's fine too. You can join without your camera. It is also for some people it's a matter of money. Like they don't want to get sucked into it because they don't want they have a large family and they feel like, oh, you know what? I don't know if I want to celebrate. Oh, here's Colin. Colin!
Hello, how are you doing, Jack?
Did you grew your beard since yesterday?
No, actually, I trimmed it a little bit because I want to, make sure that it's acceptable.
If you want to protest against it, now you got to shave the whole thing.
See, that's what we were talking about. I'm not sure. Are we supposed to shave now because we're apostates? This is complicated. They haven't given us any guidelines here, so
There's no guidelines for apostasy. They should come up with
Well,
something.
how do you identify a worldly person now? I mean, I don't know. Well, I
Yeah.
had to join
Oh,
because nobody was joining you, and I thought I can't leave Jack there all by himself, so
thank you. Appreciate it.
I had to
Yeah,
step
he's
up to
always.
the plate. But what you're talking about resonates with me because I've seen that before, where people kind of jumped on other people about that they're not witnesses anymore, and it seems like a lot of ex-witnesses think that once you're not a witness anymore, all of a sudden you're celebrating birthdays. You're set. No, I
Yeah.
mean, I personally, in my case, I was born in as well, and that was never a part of my life. I can't say I miss it. I can't say because I never had it. It was never a part of our lives. And it was nothing. There was no celebrating it one day after or no, nothing. So I never grew up with that emotion. I never grew up expecting a birthday. It has affected my relationships though, because um, I'm notorious for forgetting those dates because I never had to remember them.
Mm.
And I've had partners in the past that have gotten mad at me because, oh, you forgot our anniversary or this or that, and it's like, oh, it's not my fault. I just never had to. But um, we have celebrated things now that I'm not a witness, like birthdays for the kids and Christmas and all of that. All of our kids, like my stepchildren and my biological children, are older now, but they still get like excited about it. So we'll still get gifts. We'll still do things and things like that. But for me personally, I could really care less. It doesn't affect me one way or the other. I like doing it because other people get happy. Like the
Yes.
kids enjoy it, they get excited, and I think that's a great thing. But in
Yes.
my personal case, it just, like I said, it was never part of my life, and it just doesn't. At this point, I'm like, I'm in my mid 40s now, and the birthdays and all that. It's like, it's great when you're a kid when you come up with that,
That's right.
But at this point, like, oh, I'm going to put on a little hat now and all that. No, come on.
No. Yeah.
No, it just doesn't. I just tell people, hey, like when my birthday comes up, I don't want this singing to me and all this stuff and the cake. And no, just, hey, if someone says happy birthday, if they remember, that to me is more than enough. I'm like, hey, thanks a lot. I
Right.
appreciate it. You're thinking of me, and that's it. That's it. Kids are different, but for us,
Yes.
yeah, I
And
don't think that you're like there's the expectation of you're an ex-witness now. So now, oh, you have to join another church. You have to do this. You have to no, you don't. You have to, like you said, the key thing is you have to look at your own circumstances. And what I would say is the JW type thinking and brainwashing is when you think that you have to go right into another belief system or right
yes.
into another church, or where it's like, well, you're jumping out of the frying pan and into the fire. You're going right into another thing instead of stop, just slow down and try thinking for yourself for a change. Like you said, at the end of the day, whatever you do or don't do, the only person that affects is you. So do what's right for you, not because of everybody else or what you think you're supposed to do now. No, there's no supposed to. Just
That's
do
right.
what you want. It seems like it would be a simple thing, but it's kind of complicated. For a lot of people, it's complicated.
And I think because Jehovah's Witnesses were they had very clear guidelines of what to do, what not to do, and what's good and what's bad. Then even when you leave this mindset, sometimes you need somebody to tell you, is it okay now? Can I do this? Can I not do this? Right? You guys know it's pagan. Like,
Yeah,
it's up to you. You decide. And
right.
you're absolutely right. I remember when I was a kid, my father was a Catholic, so when I was little, he would take me to my grandma's place, and the whole celebration was there, and it was a really big thing. I grew up in Poland, so Christmas was a really big thing with a lot of traditions. They had like
Okay.
12 dishes, that they were cooking, and there was a whole bunch of things that they were sharing, and I loved it when I was a kid, to be honest, because that was the time when we gathered with all the other cousins and we all played, and we were getting gifts. I absolutely loved it. And then later on, when my mom was fighting against it, and I was like, oh, I know it's bad, but I was like disappointed because I knew that I'll never go back to my grandma's place. and I won't be able to get those gifts. And then sometimes my dad would like sneak in something,
Yeah,
right? To give me something to make me happy. But then later on, he stopped because my mom would not allow it. She's like, no, if your father is giving you a gift, you can't accept it. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
and I couldn't even show that I was disappointed because it was more important to please Jehovah, right? Than show that you're
absolutely.
disappointed. So those emotions, I know I'm not the only one that felt that way. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure a lot of people felt very similar, and I see nothing wrong with it right now. I know a lot of people
yeah.
would make a list of all the things that are wrong with
Well,
Christmas.
and that's that legalistic type of thinking is very hard to get rid of. What I would say before I go here, I just wanted to drop in really quick.
Yeah,
Anybody out there that's listening right now, and if there's any witnesses out there that are still active, okay, with the whole issue about Christmas and all that, that was so drilled into us. But I want you to look at it from this perspective, okay? Um, whether it's the origins is one thing. If it's pagan, yes, everybody knows that. That's no secret. Even the Catholic Church knows that. It's history. It's
of
accepted
course.
by everybody. Okay, so for good or for bad, when the Roman Empire decided to, Constantine converted to Christianity, and then obviously this huge empire was so vast, so extensive. They weren't going to take time to make up all these new, celebrations. They already had them established, so they just changed them to now. Okay, well, 25th of December, instead of the solstice and the Saturnalia, we're going to give that to Jesus. Okay, so I tell witnesses, listen, um, the origins are pagan, yes, but it's not anymore. Okay, whether that's his birth date or not, if you believe in Jesus and all of that, if you're a Christian and you're going to follow that theology, okay, anything that for you that brings attention to Jesus should be good. Okay, everybody that celebrated that celebration as it was, they've been dead for over 1,000 years. Okay, if you celebrate Christmas today, nobody is going to think that you're worshiping the sun, or that you're
Right.
worshiping the rebirth of the new sun and all of that, and that's gone, that's dead, it's over. There's so many
Yeah.
things. Look at it. Even if we don't know, I tell people this. Well, they say, well, yeah, but the Bible doesn't say, when Jesus was born. And I say, okay, well, yeah, the Bible doesn't say a lot of things. Okay, and you know what? God also never said anything when they made 25th of December Jesus' birthday. So obviously he doesn't have a big problem with it. Okay, and if
Good
that's a
point.
way that it's brought attention to Jesus to people all over the world, then okay, it's a good thing. And you know what? The idea behind it being with family, getting together, those are good things. Those are positive things. So if you're going to start looking at the origins of things, you can't draw a line just with Christmas. Okay, if you're going to say the origins are pagan, well, then guess what? When you get married, don't wear rings on your left hand.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's pagan.
That's
Okay,
pagan.
there's so many things that we do every single day that have pagan backgrounds, but it doesn't have that meaning anymore. That's gone. It's dead. It's over. That's a whole other era that's not here anymore. So don't fall into that pharisaical, that legalistic. Oh, because of this, it's raw. Well, then you can't stop there with that. You can't. You have to keep going all the way. If we're going to teach, if you're going to live by the, like a lot of Christian religions today still hold on to some precepts from the law. Okay, if you're going to teach some things from the law, then you have to teach all of them. Okay, you can't just cherry pick certain things and
Yeah.
So if you're gonna demand people observe the Sabbath and do this and do that, well, then at the same time, just like God told the Israelites, well, if you come and you transplant a tree, then a fruit tree, then you have to leave it for 5 years, and you have to let it go through these cycles, and you cannot eat anything from that tree until it completes that time period. So I said, so do people follow that today? If you plant a tree, are you going to wait 5 years? Well, that's in the law. It's in the law. Women were also supposed to be isolated from everybody during their period. So do you do that? Do you not touch her? Do you not So it just, where does it stop? That's the thing. So it just, you know, um, don't look so much into, like I said, if you start looking into origins, you're going to be real disappointed because you're going to find out a whole bunch of stuff you're going to have to stop doing. Not putting your elbows on the table, and hands in the pockets, and all that stuff has the superstitious and pagan origins to it. So it just, today it's not the thing. Just people relax, enjoy these times. And if you don't want to do it, like I've said before, I've made videos about this. I made one recently about Christmas. And if you're an ex-witness and you still want to not celebrate Christmas, fine.
Yeah.
But those who do, fine. Live and let live. Let them do it. If someone wants to celebrate it, does it affect you? Does it hurt you? No. So just leave people alone. Let them do it if it's okay for them. If it's not for you, fine.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's where we kind of show whether we're still under that, that witness type of thinking, that let's condemn everybody, let's judge everybody. Oh, look what you're doing. Why are you still doing this? Why aren't you doing that? Well, we might still have to maybe reflect and work on ourselves a little bit more, because we're
Right.
still judging people. We're still, but thank God at least we can't get judged for beards now.
I tell you which holiday I celebrated as a witness when I was a kid.
Yeah.
There was one called Schmingus Dingus. Okay, it's not very popular here. Schmingus
Bingo,
Dingus
bingo.
is
Wow.
it's Monday after the Easter. Okay, this is
Okay.
when guys go and spray the girls with water.
Wow.
Well, sorry. This is when everybody's supposed to spray each other with water. Okay, it's a Polish tradition, and that was the time when I would sneak out of the house very early in the morning, go with my friend, and just go spray all the girls we could possibly find.
You had to. Yeah.
Oh man, that was the greatest joy ever. And then one day, there was a talk at the Kingdom Hall, and the speaker is asking which holiday you had to give up for Jehovah that you're missing out on today, right? Like, what sacrifices did you guys make? And some people say, well, Christmas or birthdays, and I rose my head like Schmingus Dingus. Everybody was dying.
So that's basically like the wet T-shirt
Pretty much,
contest.
yes,
That,
yes.
that would be hard to give up for many reasons.
Don't give up. But we had a lot of fun with it.
Oh my goodness! Wow. Okay. Well,
Thanks,
I'm
Colin,
out of
for
here.
joining.
So
Appreciate it.
thank you. Thank you. It was fun. Okay. See you later.
Take care. Awesome. Yeah, there was each country has their own traditions, right? What they do, what they don't do. I saw like in they have traditions for I think bulls. They let the bulls run in the city, right? And I think in Spain or somewhere, they find that interesting. Or there's a tradition where they throw tomatoes at each other. different countries have different holidays, and some of them can be a lot of fun. I would say it in conclusion this: don't waste your life on blaming witnesses for their lives that they stole from you, and that you were not allowed to celebrate Christmas or birthdays and so on. Because trust me, there's a lot of people who were never witnesses, and Christmas time was extremely painful for them. Maybe because they didn't have any family. As a matter of fact, the most amount of suicides are happening around Christmas time. Why? Because people have these expectations of, oh, my family will accept me, or I should have somebody, or they're watching other people get together and they're like, I wish I had that and I don't have anybody, or my family doesn't want me, and so on and on. So it's not always pretty for everybody. Everybody has a different experience, and now it's up to you. You decide what you want to do, and it might take you a year or 2 or 5 or 10, or you might never celebrate holidays, or you pick and choose. We did this with our family. There are certain holidays we couldn't care less about, like Easter could not exist for me. I wouldn't care less. But Christmas, kids really love it, so that's why we do it. And same with birthdays. Kids absolutely love birthdays, so we have no problem with it. But there's other holidays that completely don't bother us. It's up to you, and you get to choose. That's the beauty about freedom. And even though some things might feel uncomfortable, then ask yourself, why does it feel uncomfortable? Is it because you worry about what other people will say about you? Is it just the programming in your mind? Or is it because there will be some consequences in your life that if you follow through with it, then you don't want to face them? So it's your choice. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.